Hey everybody, and welcome to the next edition of the Soccer Fitness Goals video blog. Today what we're going to be talking about is the difference between training that is subjective and training that is objective. So when training is subjective, it means that the training is based on coaches' opinions or potentially based on anecdotal evidence for what worked for a particular coach in the past. So the problem with planning or basing training based on subjective opinions or anecdotal evidence is that there is no way to truly determine that any results or success that athletes or soccer players in particular get from training is due to the training itself rather than being due to other external factors. And the reason for this is that because those external factors or variables have not been controlled for, you really can't prove that the results that you got are based on the training. So objective training, on the other hand, is training that is based on objective facts and empirical evidence, which is usually arrived at as a result of scientific research. Soccer coaches and fitness coaches must make every effort possible to ensure that the training they do is objective and not based on their own subjective opinions as to how they believe soccer players should be trained. When a coach or a fitness coach uses a particular set of exercises or a training session and rationalizes it by saying, this is the way we've always done it in the past, it's a problem. And the reason it's a problem is because it leads to a very closed-minded approach that leaves no room for any new objective evidence and potentially more effective and more efficient training methods. So at Soccer Fitness, we have always strived to make all of our training as objective as possible. And in keeping with that mindset, in the last few years, we've even put some of our most unique training protocols to the test by conducting scientific studies. This is an example of one such study titled Effectiveness of Treadmill versus Ground-Based Repeated Sprint Training on Sprint Time and High-Intensity Running Ability in Youth Female Soccer Players. And while that may sound like a mouthful, basically what we did with this study is we compared high-intensity repeated sprint training using our high-speed and high-incline running treadmills to a more conventional repeated sprint training program that was done on the ground. The net result of our study determined that treadmill training was as effective as ground-based training at improving soccer players' endurance, or the yo-yo intermittent recovery test, and it was more effective than ground-based training at improving players' speed over 10, 20, and 35-meter sprint times. So with soccer fitness training, it's a little bit easier to be objective when you're planning and implementing training. And the reason for that is that there are certain physical variables. I mentioned speed and endurance, and there are others. But these variables are relatively easy to measure. So if you want to check whether or not a training program has been effective, if you can see that there's an improvement in those variables over time, then that's a good indication that the training has been effective in improving those variables. So believe it or not, the same type of objective, evidence-based planning of training can be used not only for fitness training, but also for all other types of soccer coaching, including technical and tactical training. And the way that it can be done is for coaches to determine what are the particular technical or tactical objectives that they want to improve in their players, and then they need to determine what are ways that they can measure those skills and abilities. For example, if the goal of a coach is to improve players' shooting accuracy, try to determine a test of shooting accuracy, or even better, do some scientific research and see if there's already some tests of shooting accuracy that have been used in research, and then use that particular assessment to measure your players before and after a particular period of training on shooting. If the players perform better on the same standardized measurement of shooting accuracy after a training program versus before the training program, then that's probably a good indication that the training program was effective. And it's certainly better than using a subjective opinion of what type of shooting training exercise would work the best. So in conclusion, there are lots of different ways for coaches and fitness coaches to train soccer players, both on the physical side as well as on the technical and tactical side. If we as coaches and fitness coaches want to become better, we need to do as much of our training as possible based on objective facts and empirical evidence, and as little as possible based on subjective opinion or anecdotal evidence. So I hope you guys enjoyed this edition of the Soccer Fitness Goals video blog. Thanks for watching. And if you want any more information, remember to visit www.soccerfitness.ca or www.soccerfitnessgoals.com.